December 2023. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using the NinjaTrader 8 platform. There's only one piece of economic data that came out today, which was the consumer sentiment, or consumer confidence, which came out at around 7 a.m. Pacific Standard, which is about right here. Didn't really seem to move the markets. And for pretty much the first 5 hours, price is very, very slow. This is from here to here. So this is actually from 6:30 Pacific Standard Time all the way to about 11:30 Pacific Standard. So about this entire range, about right here. This is 5 hours of trading. And then the market decided to sell off very aggressively. So from here all the way to the close of regular trading hours, this is only an hour and a half of trading. So there's a lot of price action right here. I couldn't find out any real information of why this gigantic sell-off occurred, but it pretty much was a range and it's two-legged sell-off. I'm going to go into the trades today. I didn't take a single trade, but I was watching. And out of everything, I think there's only one really, really good trade, which happened right about here. And I'll get to that. So in the pre-market, just like yesterday and the day before, pretty much this entire week, the volume is very, very low. So I don't really see any setups that I like. The first setup I do see, but I didn't mark it, was a new low here. So first entry short, second entry short, failure. But this is a pretty bad signal bar. Bad signal bar to go short on. And then to reverse it to suddenly think you're going to go up, reversing everything after potentially a potential bottom. Didn't feel like a very safe trade. Then prices started moving up. I found this yellow up channel, little consolidation area right here. I couldn't really find any good setups. Prices then continue moving up. This is a pre-market lows and pre-market highs. I'm watching carefully to see if there's going to be some kind of rejection off the top. Falls into this consolidation area, kind of breaks out of this yellow channel. So I'm thinking it's going to probably push up and through, which it kind of does. The second setup that I see is right here. The new high, say first entry long, pullback. Here it creates a second entry long, but when I first saw this, I was debating whether I'd see a second entry long. This is what I call an almost setup. Thing is, it's the first touch of the EMA after the break of this yellow channel. I wanted this ideally not to have broken out so early, but the breakout was a little confusing because typically it breaks out and moves, but this broke out going sideways. So in other words, it broke out by hitting the end of the channel and not really because all the sellers came in. So it makes me a little extra cautious. And since it had a previous break, when I saw this, I wasn't prepared to take a trade here, especially go long, because it looks like it might bounce. It might also break through because you're going to see one leg down, push up, maybe a second leg down before it comes to testing highs. As after this bar closes, technically you have enough room to scalp out, but I just didn't really trust it yet. I just sat out. Wanted to see a higher low. You do get a higher low right here, but it's already pressing to the very highs. So it felt risky. Like you don't really know if this is going to have a rejection and pull back down because it also already tests the highs of this yellow channel. So things just consolidate. You do have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. It's a terrible signal bar to go long. Prices then kind of move in the consolidation range. I just drew this for myself. I'm going to show you in a little bit. This is where I actually see a double trap. So let me just explain it real quick. This is how a double trap, well, I thought a double trap would have occurred. I saw this as a new low. I saw this as the first entry short pulls up. So this is about to create the first trap. It closes this point here. So the first trap, you're thinking of taking a short entry, even though if you had your trading range up here, then you're thinking maybe it's going to break down and push through. So I could see that people would go short one tick below and hopefully ride it for a quick point down through here. If you did take a short, you would have gotten filled here. And if you kept your stop loss one tick above here, you would have gotten trapped by taking a short, getting filled, and immediately taking a loss. Then I could see a second trap for people deciding to go long, because when they see this, they see a first entry short, second entry short. This is clearly a failure because they tried to go short, everybody pushed it all the way back up. So I could see people thinking, okay, obviously this is the bottom of the range, it's bouncing back up, it could come back to the top of the range, which sounds reasonable. So I would think people would either put their entry one tick above this original signal bar, because if you put it above this guy, you're pushing against a potential resistance up here. So in any case, whether you put it up here or at the top or above this one, let's say you put it above this one, you would have gotten filled. Then it would have come back down and probably have stopped you out on this candle before it reversed and continued on its way. So it's a little bit, kind of a little convoluted, and I felt like there was a couple of traps here. Price then continue moving up. It breaks out of this consolidation area, and this is what I wanted to point out, because after the first hour from 6:30 to 7:30, there was very little setups here. Then from 7:30 to 8, this is 1 hour of trading, and it just looked didn't have very many setups as well. Then this is from 8:30 to 9:30. And as you can see, this is 1 hour of trading, and there wasn't very many setups here as well. So I just had to keep reminding myself, this is kind of showing what was happening the last few days where the volume was very low. And I didn't want to get sucked into taking a bad trade. So prices then continue moving up. You have a new low here. It's first entry short, second entry short. This is a good second entry short signal bar, but it's already pressing toward the high. It didn't break out of this green channel yet. If you drew the green channel a little tighter, maybe here, you could say this is a break in a new high, but I didn't quite see it that way. So I just wanted to be a little bit cleaner setup. So I left it alone. Price then continues chopping, breaks back into this blue channel and just keeps chopping sideways. And this is from 10:30 or 9:30 to 10:30. So this is another hour of trading right here. And there's nothing really setting up for us. Price then continue moving. I saw this as a potential almost setup. The new low here, it's a first entry short, second entry short. Now it's an almost setup because I wanted this to actually touch the EMA to feel confident and also to close bearish, because this is a break of this green channel. And when one push up, pull back, second push up looks like it failed. So had it actually touched the EMA, then I would potentially think it's breaking, because here I wasn't sure. I wanted to be really sure that I was coming back down and not be a fail breakout. So I wanted to actually come up to the EMA, get rejected, and push back down. Ideally, come up, touch the EMA, and touch the bottom of the range that I have here. And then that would have been a setup I would have felt a little more confident in. I'll admit that this is only a 5-tick signal bar. So you could have just taken the risk, and it looked like it would have worked out on this next candle. Then prices start moving down. It falls into what I think is this yellow range, yellow channel. But prices never came back to the EMA to give me a full confidence. And at this point, it's clear that this is acting as some kind of resistance. So I just have to wait for a really good signal bar. Back down, which the other side breaks out, falls into this bottom of this green channel. So I couldn't get a channel to capture all this price action. So I just treated it as one big leg down and then a break below. So it's kind of like an overshoot of this yellow channel. Starts going back up. Now this is probably the one and only pretty decent setup that I saw today. It was a new low here. You have a first entry short pullback. You're about to create a second entry short. And it's hard to see, but this candle is actually one tick above this guy. So it looked like it tried to push up and then got smashed back down and got smashed back down below the EMA, below the yellow down channel. So this is probably a worthwhile trade. Plus, there's enough room to scalp out before you even hit the bottom of this yellow channel if that was a concern. One thing that I was wondering is whether this is one push up, first attempt up, pull back, and it might make another attempt up. In any case, it felt like there was enough room for a quick scalp. So that's exactly what happened. Then I also saw this setup. This is actually kind of like a failed second entry long from new high, first entry long, second entry long, and it fails. Also, you can consider this as a lower high. The thing I thought about this is it has a strong bearish engulfing candle, but I wanted again to touch the top of this down channel just to feel a little more confident and get rejected definitively by the EMA, but it didn't quite do that. Plus, it closed pretty close to the bottom of this yellow channel, so I wasn't sure if it was one push up, first leg down, pull up right here, second leg down, and maybe it's going to start another leg up, or just it wasn't super clear to me exactly what was happening, so I had to leave it alone because this setup was definitely felt safer than this setup. Prices then continue chopping down. There's no clean entry that I like. It's a strong trend down with no real catalyst or reason that I could find of why this is happening. It starts pushing and breaking out. So now I'm thinking there's a potential reversal, but this is a very, very hard to deny bearish push all the way down. So when you start seeing a reversal, I would still think there's a lot of momentum to push it back down. So I was a little more cautious in thinking of going long just yet. You create a first entry long, pull back. Technically, you have a second entry long coming up right here. So it's coming down, coming down, coming down. Each time you're wondering if there's going to be a second entry long. This is actually what a second entry long forms. It breaks up. So this is a signal bar for the second entry long. Using signal bar, there are two legs down that I've drawn here. And so now you could think that maybe it's going to start a second push up, but I wasn't 100% sure that this is going to be strong enough to push all the way up and through. So I was actually going to wait for a higher low. So if you took this trade, you would have gotten the quick scalp, would have worked out, and you don't get a higher low until about right here. And this is higher low is so far away from the trade now, it feels like I'm already reaching, so I didn't want to take this setup. I need the higher low to form a little earlier. Then prices consolidate, starts pushing back down. I see a higher low here. So actually, there's no second entry. You can see a visual after the break, first entry long, second entry long failure. And maybe there's a higher low here. The rejection off the EMA is the first break of this green down channel, but it just wasn't quite a good enough setup because I wasn't sure if there was going to be a second leg up. Boom. And then you might see a second leg up before it continues back down. Plus, if I were to take an entry here, it feels like I'm pushing my luck before I potentially hit the bottom here. Turns out it works, but you're also getting kind of late in the day. And seeing as I didn't really take any trades all day, the volume was also very low, except for this crazy reaction that just happened right at 11:30. I wasn't too eager to suddenly try to squeeze in a trade because I just kind of wrote it off as today is a slow day. Who knew this was going to happen? So I just decided I'm going to be extra careful, especially when it's going into the last 30 minutes. Price then continued chopping, and here just kind of creates a bunch of second entries, but I just wasn't ready to take any trades at this point because I didn't want to risk just ending even or flat is much better than ending red. Of course, if you ended green, that'd be great, but then I wasn't confident I would be ending green if I took a trade. And then just kind of goes in the last 10 minutes, so this just gets really choppy all the way into the close. So it was a very slow day for the most of it, for the first 5 hours. Then the last hour and a half, which is actually starts right here. This is 1 hour and 90 minutes of trading right here. This is all the price action that happened in 90 minutes, which is quite impressive compared to a lot less price action in the first 5 hours. So here, I don't blame you if you decide to just check out and not even trade because who knew that this was going to happen? And there was no news that I could find that created this big reaction. So go ahead and delete that. So hopefully that was helpful.